welcome back to the channel on another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and today we're going to be continuing with the Cessna 152 training courses. There's two left, navigation, solo navigation, and today we're going to take the first step to navving like that, and see what it's like, see what it teaches us. So off we go here.
I've always said flying is free. Open skies, endless possibilities. But to fully enjoy it, you need to be prepared. We're going to focus this lesson on navigation prep and procedures, the fundamentals of getting from point A to point B. Step 1, putting some distance between us and the ground.
And just like the rest of these guys, I have not gone through these myself yet. I'm experiencing for the first time, just like you. So let's see what happens here. Alright, so I'm assuming she wants us to take off. I have my objectives, and here, let me put this stuff on screen here for you guys. So we have this that is included with this mission popped up on the screen, so it's a nav clock. If I'm reading this right, once she tells us to navigate, this will be waypoint 1. That's its name. We'll be on a heading. This will be our heading to achieve waypoint 1 of 041 degrees. Distance 8.85 nautical miles. Now, I don't know where the reference point is. That's from the airport or from a specific starting location. I imagine she'll tell us. ETE, that's estimated time en route. So from starting to stop is 4 minutes 57 seconds. And then, yeah, this will be a mission clock, essentially. So stopwatch just to track your time. And I know the reason why we do that is deviation of speed. If your speed is slightly different than what you had plotted, it gives you a reference on the return trip to where you're at least. Alright, well, let's just see what happens. So we have that, and then obviously we have our objectives, which is telling us to take off. So I'm going to pull this back off screen for a minute, and let's get out of here. Get on that right rudder, compensate for that propeller torque. Airspeed alive. And let's get up. Try to maintain our runway heading. The nose up a bit.
Alright, we're off. Now, keep climbing around the airport until we reach 5,800 feet.
While climbing around the airport, alright. Probably a little steep on our angle there for a Cessna, but that's alright. Almost 1,000 feet per minute. Let's pull that back. I'm trying to stall it.
Saying, but good navigation starts with good departure prep. Let's set up the aircraft for the first leg of your trip. Attitude? Check. Now for your heading. When you need to set and maintain a heading, you'll want to rely on your heading indicator. Compasses are prone to errors, especially during turns or while accelerating or decelerating. Go ahead and position your plane above the airport.
Okay. Imagine you guys can tell by my flying, I'm used to combat simulators. Position your plane above the airport. You got it! Kidding. Okay. Let's pull our speed
one
back.
last bit of departure prep. We need to validate the time. That's
Okay.
a fancy way of saying start the clock.
Alright. So our objectives have also changed to start the nav clock.
On the nav log, you can see our next waypoint, Munns Park, is at a 41-degree heading about 5 minutes away. Navigating is basically flying a given heading for a given amount of time. Sometimes you deviate, but if you track the time flown from your last known position, you'll always have at least a range for your current position. We all know speed can increase or decrease depending on the wind. That's why at your next waypoint you'll want to compare your estimated time en route with the actual time flown. Validate your estimate and your progress.
Okay, so far this seems like a good one. So, well, we got a bit to chat. The flight model over the last few episodes here, I've been pretty impressed with. I'm actually getting knocked around a little bit, which would make sense, especially being up here in Sedona with all these mountains and hilltops. And as low as we're flying, I'm pretty impressed by that. Now the other thing I did, I don't know how much of a difference you guys can tell from the previous video, some of the shadows look a little weaker. So with the NVIDIA graphics cards, if you were unaware, they have an update for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 as the game ready driver. Now again, I have an i7 7700K and a GTX or an RTX, excuse me, 2080 Ti, and then 32 gigs of RAM, blah blah blah. And the recommended, the optimized settings, I should say, in NVIDIA GeForce Experience was shockingly low. And I don't know if that's optimization an issue for the sim or an issue with the card or what, but like low. Like I was kind of disappointed. Like, you know, the 2080 Ti is still a $1,400-$1,500 video card. It's like, and we have to go that low. And don't get me wrong, I know all about computers. Processor comes into play, memory comes into play, etc., etc. So that's not necessarily an issue. Just I was shocked. So obviously it's an extremely demanding simulator. A lot of the graphics settings, I feel like the terrain is more washed out than it was in the first couple episodes. Now it's running very smooth, I will say that. The only time I'm seeing any stutters is, I can guarantee, is when new terrain is being loaded in. But like down in there, and I don't know if that's satellite imagery because we're so low, which again, some of that I would expect. I don't expect every single object to be modeled in 3D and hand colored, blah blah blah. We'd never see the game, but I don't know, just something seems really weird and I can't put my finger on. The clouds look super bright. Coloring on them is a little weird for like these ones that are back over here. I mean, some of it's legit. I don't know. You guys have to tell me what you think in the comments below. I would like to hear. You know, I think in the next one, after we wrap this series up here, we'll dive into the graphics settings, start playing around with things, and see what I can come up with. Controls seem a little weird. I can't put my finger on it, but things just seem off. Something needs to change. I can't put my finger on what it is. Sometimes I feel like they're too responsive, other times not quite responsive enough. Sorry guys, I keep yawning. Apparently it's getting late. It's really not all that late either. Alright, so it looks like we're a little behind schedule here. I don't know what speed we were supposed to be plotted for, and so that was... I guess that's another piece of information that I feel like would have been critical to this training. Like, navigation isn't just about time and distance, it's got to be about your speed too. And she mentioned your speed, and that's why you have the clock. That's great. But we also plot based on a specific speed. You're going to be doing 80 knots for 33 minutes at a heading of 041 degrees, whatever, at 6,000 feet. And all of that's going to account to one major factor, fuel usage, right? How fast you're going, how far you're going, how high you're flying, how well you can maintain freaking attitude, unlike this noob behind the seat right now. All that's going to determine how much fuel you're going to burn. And every time you plot a flight, it's strictly based on how much fuel is it going to take me to get there. So I feel like this one's a little lacking. I feel like some more information should have been taught prior to going to this. Maybe Cortana isn't the best one to teach us to fly a Cessna and should stick with Halo, but
Good.
you know.
You made it to Munns Park. According to the nav log, we've got one more stop. Flagstaff Pulliam Airport. An easier way to navigate is to follow identifiable landmarks like highways.
Whoa.
And just so happens we have one below us.
Okay, that was totally my fault. That was bad flying. Again, need to remind myself I'm not flying a fighter anymore. It's not an F-16, it's not a Hornet. More like a lawnmower. I know I keep bad-mouthing the 152, it's a slug. Alright, so I'm going to move this off screen for now. I'm just going to follow the highway. I don't think I'm going to follow right on. I can see the highway up there. So I think we're going to sort of do some cross-checking here. Not cross-checking, cross-country. Excuse me. Cross-check. Flying across the land, cross-check, check. Okay, we are flying across the land. You are absolutely right. It is cross-check. Now I know the GPS marker's out here, but I'm trying to only fly to where I can see. So I lose the highway right about here. So that's my aiming point right now. Trying not to cheat. Otherwise, what's the point? I feel like these shouldn't show up until you're much closer. Much closer, especially for a training mission. Or scenario, I should say. Traffic does look cool. Roads for the most part look alright. Not sure what this guy right here is doing though. He looks like he should have died about 28 times. But of course there's going to be little bugs, things like that. That's to be expected. Looks like we might have another aircraft out there. Either that or I can't remember what they're called. A warning beacon, you know, the big towers with the lights that say "Don't hit me." I don't know what that is out there. I would guess a power plant or something. I don't think it's another plane. Doesn't seem to be moving. Still following the highway there. I'm just trying to keep this sort of distance. Keep it right in the middle of our boom here. The wing strut. Doing a little bit better job managing our altitude. I think that's my hardest part with, you know, these aircraft. As a beginner in general aviation, I think that truly is going to be the hardest thing for me to learn. Is really managing my altitude. I tend to get looking around too much and don't realize that, you know, 20, 30 feet variation for 4 miles, well, that adds up, you know. And stupid airspeed keeps changing so much that I keep losing my trim. There we go. A little bit better. Alright, so where are we here? We are expected arrival 6 minutes 49 seconds. We're at 4:44. And see, I just did it again. Still keeping the highway in the center of our boom here, or strut. I don't know why I keep calling it a boom. Apparently I'm in the mood for air-to-air refueling, which I don't think we can do with a Cessna. I can't remember if Flagstaff has air traffic control or if it's a Unicom. I think it's a Unicom. Honestly, this one I've never flown to. It's hard to say. So for those of you who don't know, not all airports have air traffic controllers, even the small ones. A lot of the small ones will have what's called a Unicom, which basically you just pop up on there's a designated frequency for it, but you pop up on that frequency and you basically just state where you are and announce your intentions, and it's up to the other pilots in the area to pay attention to where you are, and up to you to pay attention to where they are, and sort of just work together to make sure everyone gets down safely. And those will be at your less popular airfields, less busy airfields. You know, so you might say something like, you know, Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra, inbound Flagstaff Pulliam Airport, you know, from the south up at, you know, 8,000, you know, and then state your intentions, you know, intention landing full stop. And I think is that the runway right there? Looks like a runway to me. Or do we have something right there? I can't tell.
As you close in on Flagstaff Pulliam airspace, next step is setting up to enter the traffic pattern. We've got clearance to enter the downwind leg and land on runway 21. Keep your attitude, then follow the standard pattern.
See, she says runway 21. It should be runway 21. Like, they could have had someone who at least knew how to talk like a pilot. I suppose, I mean, I don't know. I've never heard anyone say runway 21 or 13. Or, I mean, crying out loud, they say tree instead of 3. Alright, so we want... I wish I knew what the runway elevation was. Does it tell me? It does not. Okay, well, tried. I was looking at the objective information. Right now it just says enter the down leg. So we'll just do what we normally do, I guess. We'll put the runway in the center of our wing strut and make our turn. Looks like that's about right. Maintain it. Give a little bit more turn. A little shallow on that. Alright, so we want runway 21, so I'm going to fly the reciprocal of about 3-2. So we're on the downwind leg.
Lower your nose to a cruise attitude and reduce your power.
Alright, here we go. She said reduce power, I guess, but I don't think we're ready for idle yet. I thought we were supposed to turn at a 45-degree angle. I would say we're there. Maybe not, but... Alright, we should totally be turning by now. That's a long
Power should
base
be
leg.
at idle now, so you're losing altitude while maintaining cruise attitude.
I'm willing to bet we're going to need more power. I'm not agreeing with her on this one. We'll see. And that's the other thing. She never told me what the cruise altitude was. I suppose it could have been in the initial screens, and so if I missed that, that's my fault. But I don't think I saw that. And either way, I feel like that should be in the verbal briefing.
21, and we'll call this one done.
Alright, there's the PAPI lights. Flaps down, give us a little bit longer in the leg. Yeah, we're gonna need power. Oh shit. Yeah, I know. That's a stall warning. Terrible approach. Like I said, I think she took us way too far out for that base leg. Guess if I was a little higher it wouldn't have been an issue, but again, I don't remember her giving us an altitude. So I might have missed that. Let's go back and see what that said. We're going to hit like a hammer. Ooh. Alright, well, we're down. I think now she's just waiting for us to get off the runway. Terrible landing.
All right, successful VFR flight in the books. Not bad.
If you say
Not
so.
bad at all.
Okay, so let's talk about some of this for a second, because I was not impressed with this. So she did tell us to take off when we reached 5,800 feet. We set our cruise altitude, positioned the aircraft above the runway center. We did that just fine. Yeah, but see, nowhere here does she say what altitude we should be cruising at. That's going to be part of your flight plan. Okay, when you make a flight plan, you're going to assign yourself an altitude. Whether it's VFR or not, you got to plot an altitude. Okay, now you can deviate from that, you know, in certain scenarios, going sightseeing, things like that, sure, but, you know, your routes that you file, they're going to know what altitude you're at, how long you're going to be at, what speed we're at. So there was no preset speed set, there was no preset altitude set. So those are two major factors in fuel consumption right there. Especially the airspeed. You know, we should absolutely have set a speed. And that's the whole point of how you plot. It's not just a matter of using a stopwatch. You have to be using, the idea isn't just, okay, I'm going to fly this direction for 4 minutes. It's, I'm going to fly this direction at this speed. It should take me approximately 4.5 minutes. And that's why you use your mission clock. Now, you can use your mission clock to keep you back on track. You know, if you're, you know, if there's a variance, you know, at least you know how long you flew, what direction. Let's say you got lost. Okay, well, I can fly my reciprocal back. Okay, I flew 070 degrees for 18 minutes at 90 knots. Okay, and then you find yourself lost. All right, well, let's do this. Let's reset my mission clock, turn the aircraft around, and fly the reciprocal. You know, what would that be? 140 at, you know, for 19 minutes or whatever heck time I said is. So I wasn't really impressed with this one. I feel like it's lacking a lot. You know, reach Munns Park Golf Club. That's something that they should have told us what that was. You know, pop up a map first and say, all right, here, you know, let us see the visual reference. And then, of course, have somebody other than Cortana be our flying coach. But anyway, all right, guys. Well, I will see you in the next one. We'll go ahead and try the solo and see what happens. I'll talk to you guys in a minute.